if you've been following us on our videos, I'm sure you probably heard us use the term closed loop or closed loop farm. What that means, in a perfect world, that our farm is able to sustain itself by providing the resources it needs. For example, take this kale. We're able to harvest this kale and feed this kale to our rabbits or our goats, and in return, they provide us with manure to feed the garden. Another great example is our comfrey. We planted this comfrey early this year as a companion crop to our blueberries, with the intent purpose of being able to harvest it to provide nutrients to our garden. Now, what's nice about the comfrey is high in phosphorus, potassium, and nitrogen. What that does is give our plants the energy and the nutrients it needs to be able to harvest additional energy from the soil as well as the sun. Now, as you can see, this plant is really flourishing here, so we're going to be harvesting some of this today to make compost tea. But before we make the compost tea, we need to actually make a system to be able to contain and as well as dispense that comfrey tea. So you want to make sure that you have a bucket or some kind of container of some sort that has the ability to have a drain spout, so it's easy to dispense the comfrey tea. What I chose was 2 5-gallon buckets in these little spigots that I got off a line. They cost roughly about $5 for the bucket a piece, and then $10 for the 2 spigots I have. So what we're going to do here first is we're going to measure about 1.5 inches to 2 inches on each bucket. Now the spigot that I have is requires an inch hole saw. So I got my inch hole saw in there already, and I just line it up, my drill up with the marker. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other bucket. Clean off all the burrs. If you have some sandpaper, this would be really good for cleaning the burrs off as well. You want to make sure you clean out the inside, and then we just take our little spigot, which comes with also a rubber washer for in and out. Just pop it on. And we're just going to hand tighten it. Now, the reason I chose to do the 5-gallon buckets is just for portability. I want to be able to move these buckets around on the property. Now we have our 2 buckets for our comfrey tea.
So I just harvested about a bucket full of comfrey leaves, and I will say it's pretty cool to be able to do that. We purchased comfrey plants, but we also purchased comfrey roots, and we did that this year. And so these plants have grown in such a short period of time. It's remarkable how big they've gotten, and the ability for us to harvest from them and make the comfrey tea. We also, you can make salves from comfrey. There's a host of things that you can actually make from this plant. So if you have never heard of comfrey, I highly recommend you look it up. It is such an amazing companion plant to have on your farm. So let's go ahead and get these leaves ready to go so we can get them in the buckets so we can start making this tea. Okay, so the comfrey is cut. I just need to slice it up into little pieces. We have the buckets, as we showed before, ready to go. I have my trimmers, and then I also have cheesecloth because I'm going to wrap the comfrey leaves up almost like you're basically steeping the leaves. So I will wrap them up in the leaves, rubber band them, and then fill these suckers up with water because it's supposed to be real warm today. And then we're gonna let this sit for 2 to 3 weeks. And then what we're gonna do is we'll spray it on our garden. So let's get started. I have 2 Comfrey tea bags that I'm going to put in each 5-gallon bucket. So I'll put one in this bucket and one in this bucket, and I'm going to fill these bad boys up with water and let them steep. We're going to let these puppies brew, like I said, for about 2 to 3 weeks, and then we will get sprayers and we'll spray our garden with the Comfrey tea. It is packed full of great nutrients for our plants. I can't wait to use it. It's an awesome feeling to be able to have the ability to really get this right from our garden, and I'm really excited. But I will say one thing I do want to mention is that everything that we've been researching, they say once this starts to steep and really starts to brew, you do not want to get this on you because it reeks. So that's why we have the setup we have, is because we're going to do the best that we possibly can to not get this on us. Otherwise, Lord knows, we will smell for weeks. Alright guys, hopefully this was helpful for you. Honestly, I'm pretty excited. So looking forward to using the Comfrey in our garden for so many things. So if you guys like the video, please remember to like, share, subscribe, and tell a million friends or two. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.